Stop buying German and Turkish airguns just because they have bigger marketing budgets. Because there is a manufacturer in northern Spain, operating out of the Basque Mountains, that has been engineering precision air rifles since 1917. 109 years of metallurgical mastery. And in 26, Norica just dropped a catalog that is about to embarrass some very expensive brands. 5 rifles, 5 completely different field-proven predators. One of them rewrites the rule book on what a break barrel can even do. These are the top 5 best Norica Airguns of 2026. Let's get into it. Next up at number 5, the Norica Black Eagle. And look, before you dismiss this as just another Springer, hear me out. Because this rifle has a trick up its sleeve that most shooters completely miss. Norica built the Black Eagle around a deliberately shortened 354mm rifled steel barrel. That is not a cost-cutting move. That is a calculated ballistic decision. Here is the engineering behind it. In a spring piston rifle, there is a critical window of time between the moment the sear releases and the moment the lead pellet clears the muzzle. That window is called lock time. The longer the barrel, the longer that window stays open. And every millisecond that barrel is still in motion during the firing cycle is a millisecond where human error and vibration can push your shot off target. By shortening the barrel, Norica closes that window faster. The pellet is gone before the rifle can misbehave. The result? A magnum Springer that is genuinely easier to shoot accurately than it has any right to be. Power is nothing to laugh at either. The high-tension German steel mainspring pushes 22 caliber lead pellets at 260, 5 meters per second. 177 caliber throws led downrange at a scorching 315 meters per second. Peak output is 23.8 joules. That is serious field energy for a rifle that sets you back just €229.50. Aesthetically, the Black Eagle is immediately recognizable. The stock is crafted from vaporized beechwood, finished in a water-based black ink that lets the natural wood grain breathe through the dark surface. Deep, natural wood-colored checkering is carved directly into the pistol grip and forearm, not rubber molded, not laser etched, hand carved. That kind of detail does not show up at this price point. A ventilated rubber butt pad handles the recoil impulse from that big mainspring. And premium fiber optic open sights come installed straight out of the box alongside the NATS 2-stage adjustable trigger. Now here's the honest deal breaker. At 3.1 kilograms across an 1190mm chassis, this rifle is a genuinely heavy carry for all-day hunting treks. Your forearm will know about it by hour 3 in the field. And that magnum mainspring, it is loud. Even with Norica's proprietary silent shot aluminum sound moderator built right into the bull barrel profile, this thing has a bark, manageable, but present. But if you want an heirloom-quality magnum Springer at under €230, nothing at this price comes close to the Black Eagle's craftsmanship. This is a solid entry point into the Norica world. But wait until you see the absolute mechanical revolution sitting at number 1 on this list. Stepping up the power and stepping up the craftsmanship. At number 4, the Norica Marvic 2.0 Luxe. This is the rifle Norica builds for the shooter who plans to still be shooting it in 30 years. Let's talk about what separates the Marvic 2.0 from every other Springer in this price bracket. The breech block. Most break barrel air rifles use a cast or folded steel breech, functional, but over tens of thousands of cocking cycles, that joint develops slop. The barrel starts to shift microscopically under load. That shift is called barrel droop. and it will destroy your optical zero over time without you even realizing it. Norica machined the Marvic's breech from a single solid bar of high-grade steel. No welds, no castings, one continuous piece of metal, precision cut to an interference, fits so tight that the barrel lockup stays absolutely rigid for the lifetime of the rifle. This is why the Marvic 2.0 Luxe gets handed down through generations instead of replaced every 5 years. That rock-solid breech feeds into a 484mm barrel driven by a massive German steel mainspring. Output mirrors the Black Eagle, 315 meters per second in .177 caliber, 265 meters per second, pushing .22 caliber lead pellets, peaking at 23.8 joules. The difference is not raw power. The difference is what that rigid breech does to your long-term accuracy and zero retention. The Luxe variant adds something genuinely rare in traditional spring piston rifles, a fully adjustable comb on the vaporized beechwood stock. That vertical cheek piece adjustment is not a gimmick. When you mount a large objective scope with a tall rail, your eye needs to drop lower to find the optical axis. Fixed combs force you to adapt your head position to the rifle. The Marvic Luxe forces the rifle to adapt to you. Premium fiber optic open sights sit inside a steel protective shroud to prevent damage in the field. The NATS adjustable trigger and an automatic safety positioned directly in front of the trigger blade round out a package that punches far above its under 300 British pounds asking price. At 3.3 kilograms across 1180 millimeters, the balance point rests exactly at the checkered foregrip. That is not an accident. That is the result of 100 years of knowing exactly where a rifle needs to sit in your hands. Here is the deal breaker though. Those choke barrels that Norica is so proud of, they are tight, genuinely tight. Oversized pellets in the 4.51 or 4.52 millimeter range will fight you at the chamber. You need exact 4.50 millimeter match-grade ammunition to get the groups this rifle is capable of. For a casual shooter grabbing a tin off the shelf at a sporting goods store, that pellet selectivity is going to cost you accuracy and patience until you find the right ammunition pairing. Find the right pellet, and this rifle becomes a surgical instrument. Sound off below if you have been shooting a Marvic long enough to find your go-to pellet. I want to know what you are running in this thing. Now we get into the serious hunting rigs. Number 3, the Norica NTX 35 Commando. And this thing does not look like any other Norica you have ever seen. Gone is the classic European wood stock. Gone is the traditional blued steel aesthetic. The NTX 35 Commando arrives in an aggressively styled anti-shock synthetic fiber thumbhole, stock with a tactical camouflage finish. Norica made a deliberate choice here. This rifle is not built for the gun cabinet. It is built for the field, for austere conditions, for hunters who drag their equipment through mud, rain, and brush and need a chassis that does not care. Now let's talk about the engineering that makes this thing genuinely dangerous at range. The NTX 35 Commando runs a 600mm true choke precision stabilized barrel. 600mm. That is 23.6 inches of rifled steel. Here is why that number matters. In a pre-charged pneumatic system, the high-pressure air expanding from the Evo regulator valve has a finite acceleration window. The moment the pellet exits the muzzle, the party is over. A longer barrel extends that acceleration corridor, giving the expanding air column significantly more time to push the projectile before it escapes into the atmosphere. More acceleration time means higher terminal velocity without needing to increase regulator pressure. You extract more kinetic energy from the same volume of air, the result of that 600mm barrel paired with the Evo regulator. Factory, set at 135 bar, which is 1,959 PSI, is devastating. In 25 caliber, The NTX-35 Commando generates 60 joules of energy. That translates to approximately 44.2 foot-pounds at the muzzle. The .22 caliber pushes 45 joules. .177 caliber delivers 30 joules. At 60 joules, you are talking about ethical pest control on medium-sized game well past 50 meters. Maintaining lethal terminal velocity at distances that would make a lesser PCP wave the white flag. Shot count holds up respectably too. The oversized 380cc air cylinder, larger than the Viriatus' 340cc, fills to a maximum of 250 bar. That translates to 70 shots per fill in .177 caliber and 47 shots in the heavy-hitting .25 caliber. A premium color-coded WIKA pressure gauge is built directly into the chassis, so you always know exactly where your pressure sits before you take a shot that matters. Ergonomics are modular and mission adaptable. The synthetic stock features a vertically adjustable cheek piece to align your eye precisely with heavy optics on the 11mm dovetail rail. Sling swivel studs are included for bipod attachment. Because at 3.7 kilograms across 1,070 millimeters, this is a rifle that wants to be shot from a stable platform. The NATS Evo adjustable trigger breaks between 200 and 400 grams, depending on your preference, ensuring that 60 joules of kinetic output is not wasted by a gritty or unpredictable release. Here is the financial reality, though. That proprietary Evo regulator system is a technological marvel right up until it needs service. Norica's Spanish-based service network in North America is still maturing in 2026. If that regulator develops a leak or needs adjustment outside of Europe, you are looking at shipping costs and wait times that will test your patience and your wallet. Factor that into the €420 asking price before you pull the trigger. That said, 60 joules of regulated, consistent air power at €420 is a disruption play that the established premium brands are not going to enjoy. Entering the elite tier. Number 2. The Norica Viriatus BPHT. And if you have been sleeping on Spanish PCPs, this is the rifle that wakes you up. Let's start with the barrel, because the barrel is the entire conversation with this platform. Norica did not use their own production barrel on the Viriatus BPHT. They sourced a 450mm choked barrel from Lothar. Walther, a German firm that has been manufacturing precision rifle barrels to aerospace-grade tolerances for decades. When airgun manufacturers worldwide want the gold standard in rifling, Lothar Walther is the name that comes up every single time. The meticulous rifling geometry and the microscopic dimensional tolerances of a Lothar Walther barrel are what make sub-MOA accuracy at extended. Range is a realistic expectation rather than a marketing promise. Now here is the mechanical insight that separates the Viriatus from the NTX-35 Commando sitting at number 3. Both rifles run the same Evo regulator platform, factory set at 135 bar. But the Viriatus BPHT achieves something the Commando cannot. It packages a full 450mm of Lothar Walther precision into a total overall length of just 740mm, 29.13 inches. That is a carbine-length footprint containing a full-length precision barrel. The engineering solution is the bullpup configuration. By relocating the action and the breech entirely behind the trigger group, Norica collapses the mechanical dead space that a conventional rifle wastes between the trigger and the buttstock. The barrel runs the full length of the chassis rather than surrendering that real estate to the receiver. You get the accuracy of a long barrel in a package that maneuvers through dense brush and tight shooting blinds without snagging on every branch you pass. At 2.9 kilograms, the Viriatus BPHT is the lightest rifle on this entire list. And because the action sits rearward over the shooter's support hand, The center of gravity rides directly above the grip, not out at the muzzle. Offhand shooting becomes genuinely stable rather than a battle against a front-heavy chassis. The 340cc's air cylinder fills to 250 bar, 3,620 psi, and the Evo regulator delivers 30 joules in 177 caliber for 70 shots per fill. 22 caliber runs 60 shots. The heavy-hitting 25 caliber pushes 47 shots at peak energy. In unrestricted FAC markets, the 25 caliber variant reaches 44 foot-pounds of energy. A premium WIKA color-coded pressure gauge is integrated directly into the chassis wall. The mid-mounted side lever cycles the 10-shot, 22 caliber or 12-shot, 177 caliber automatic magazine smoothly and effortlessly, without ever breaking your cheek weld. A bubble spirit level is built directly into the action, a critical anti-cant reference for long range. Trajectory work, where even a 2-degree tilt will walk your impacts laterally off the plate. The semi-shrouded barrel integrates sound-suppressing baffles that strip the turbulent air column below 85 decibels. A half UNF thread sits ready at the muzzle for an aftermarket moderator when you need absolute backyard silence. Here is the honest problem with the Viriatus BPHT. The black wood finish, which is visually stunning in photographs, uses an exterior finish on the synthetic chassis that shows handling wear faster than it should at this price point. Scratches, scuffs, and holster marks accumulate noticeably within the first season of hard field use. For a rifle approaching 835 euros, that surface durability is a legitimate complaint. The internal engineering is impeccable. The exterior finish does not match the asking price. At 835 euros, the Viriatus BPHT competes directly with premium Swedish and British PCPs. And in most categories, it wins that fight. But there is one rifle on this list that combines everything the Viriatus does, right with a technology so fundamentally disruptive that it changes the category entirely. Closer to the crown. And here we are, the throne. Number 1, the Norica Omnia ZRS Pro. And before I tell you why this rifle takes the crown, I need you to understand the problem it solved. Because you cannot fully appreciate the solution without understanding exactly how brutal the problem was. Every spring piston air rifle ever manufactured, every single one, generates a bidirectional recoil impulse when fired. Pull the trigger, and the mainspring releases rearward. Milliseconds later, the heavy piston slams the front wall of the compression cylinder and snaps violently forward. 2 separate shock waves, 2 separate directions. That bidirectional violence is what the airgun industry spent decades calling the scope killer phenomenon. Standard optical sights are engineered to handle rearward firearm recoil. They are not built for the forward snap of a Springer. Internal reticles crack, 0 shifts. Expensive glass dies on cheap Springers with brutal regularity. The other consequence of that bidirectional impulse is hold sensitivity. To shoot a Magnum Springer accurately, you cannot grip it like a normal rifle. You have to use the artillery hold, a deliberately loose, almost floating contact with the stock, to allow the rifle to recoil consistently in the same direction every time. Master that hold, and you can shoot. Forget it once, and your group opens up like a shotgun pattern. Norica solved both problems simultaneously with a single patent, the zero recoil system. Here is the mechanical insight. The ZRS architecture completely isolates the barreled action and the compression cylinder from the stock by mounting the entire internal mechanism on a guided rail system. When the mainspring releases and the piston fires, the internal mechanics slide along that rail, absorbing the kinetic shock within the action itself. The bidirectional energy is contained, managed, and dissipated before it ever reaches the stock, the shooter's shoulder, or the optics rail. What the shooter feels is nothing. The firing cycle of the Omnia ZRS Pro is as smooth as a pre-charged pneumatic, without a hand pump, without a carbon fiber air tank, without an electrical compressor, without any of the infrastructure that owning a PCP demands. Now let's talk about why this rifle takes the crown over every other platform on this list. Compare it to the Viriatus BPHT at number 2. The Viriatus is the finest PCP Norica produces, a Walther barrel, a hyper-consistent Evo regulator, a perfectly balanced bullpup chassis at 2.9 kilograms. It is a genuinely elite hunting rifle. But the Viriatus demands infrastructure. You need a high-pressure source to fill that 340cc cylinder to 250 bar. A hand pump will exhaust you. A quality carbon fiber bottle and fill station will cost you hundreds of dollars on top of the €835 asking price. The Omnia ZRS Pro delivers PCP smooth firing cycles and PCP safe optics mounting for €499, self-contained. Walk out the door and shoot. Compare it to the NTX 35 Commando at number 3. The Commando generates 60 joules of raw, destructive energy, an undeniably impressive ballistic figure. But that 60 joules is delivered with all the industrial subtlety of a sledgehammer. The Omnia ZRS Pro generates 24 joules in .22 caliber. Not 60, but it delivers those 24 joules with a surgical consistency and zero recoil that makes every single one of those joules count on target. Raw energy output means nothing if your optic has shifted zero or your hold sensitivity has introduced shooter error into the equation. The Pro variant elevates the standard Omnia ZRS platform in every measurable dimension. The trigger upgrades to the flagship NATS Evo system, a glass-clean two-stage break at 350 grams. 350 grams. That is 1/7 the pull weight of a standard military trigger. The barrel extends to a 500mm true choke profile, providing superior gyroscopic stabilization of the lead pellet in the final critical millimeter before muzzle exit. SSC technology integrates a self-lubricating piston washer that minimizes internal friction and shot cycle vibration, enhancing consistency across long shot strings. The stock is crafted from vaporized beechwood in an ambidextrous thumbhole configuration. The thumbhole geometry forcing a more vertical, relaxed grip that eliminates wrist tension during the trigger press. An adjustable cheek piece provides perfect optical alignment across optics of any objective diameter. Total length is 1,200 millimeters. Total weight is 4.0 kilograms, and because the ZRS system has completely eliminated bidirectional recoil, every gram of that mass works for you rather than against you. Mount high magnification glass. Run it without the artillery hold. Shoot it like a PCP for €499. That is the disruption. That is why the Norica Omnia ZRS Pro is not just the best airgun Norica makes in 2026. It is the most important break barrel air rifle built in the last decade. It democratizes precision. It removes the technical and financial barriers between a casual shooter and genuine sub-MOA performance. It takes a century of Basque metallurgical heritage and deploys it as a weapon against the status quo. The new king of 2026 is not a PCP. It is not a 5-figure custom build. It is a €499 Spanish Springer that makes every other Springer on the market look like it was designed in a different century, because it was. So there it is, 5 rifles, 1 century of Spanish engineering, and a manufacturer that just made the entire break barrel market sit down and rethink its assumptions. Norica has been engineering from the Basque Mountains since 1917. Over 100 years of metallurgical discipline. And in 2026, they are not slowing down. They are accelerating. If this list opened your eyes to what Spanish precision engineering is doing right now, lock in the channel. Because the rifles coming out of El Jeddah are only going to get more dangerous from here. Keep your air tanks full, and I will see you downrange.